I'm glad I get to cover this revival episode because it gives me a chance to talk about one of my favorite sports, and I ain't talking about soccer.
You missed that call, Riff!
No, what, man? I'm talking just volunteer, man.
Hey folks, welcome to Squirrel Tactics. Don't forget to hit the buttons like, hype, check out the Patreon, the merch store, Squirrel History, and we have 2 new top tier patrons, but they insisted they be shouted out together. And since I'm a squirrel of the people, Jaden Werebunny and Sammy Cat, this one's for y'all.
All right. Someone's insane. Look out, someone's insane.
I got my eye on you, nutcase.
Alright, let's get into it. New ref in town. The title comes from the old phrase, there's a new sheriff in town, a phrase that is actually used in the episode.
But the rules were followed and justice was enforced.
Oh, sounds like there is a new sheriff in town.
And it's been used quite often to signify that someone new is in charge, and more likely than not, things were going to be changing around there.
There's a new sheriff in town, boys. There's a new sheriff in town.
Looks like there's a new shepherd in town.
That's sheriff.
It dates back to the frontier towns of the 1800s, though I wasn't able to nail down a specific first usage. It has a double meaning in the title, seen as Hank is a new ref, but also by actually enforcing the rules as opposed to, say, Boomhauer, who was rather lax about them. Hank also fits the things are gonna change around here aspect of the phrase. The episode starts off with the guys in their standard opening positions in the alley, and they ain't too happy about Luke Jr., I still want to call him Revival Randy, kicking a soccer ball against the fence. Now, I can see them having an issue because it could possibly damage the fence, but they're clutching their proverbial pearls because he's playing soccer. They could just be happy that he's outside and not staring at a phone, but no, how dare he play soccer.
What's next? We teach him to measure milk in liters? Replace donuts with scones?
Hank defends him, claiming that he could become the next Lionel Messi, which draws the ire of the other guys. Now, let me be honest here, the average middle-aged Texas man probably has no idea who Lionel Messi is. Part of me is actually kind of surprised that the guys would know who he is. It is also possible that they don't know who he is, but since he has a European-sounding name, they can infer that he's either a soccer player or an F1 driver. And considering the context, probably a soccer player. Hank then shows off some nifty footwork when he returns the stray ball, making the guys even more suspicious, but Boomhauer interrupts this by walking off, calling out AYSO, meaning the American Youth Soccer Organization, one of the largest youth soccer organizations in the country, though it is smaller than the United States Youth Soccer Association. Dale is, we're gonna say, deeply troubled by this, and he ends up going down the road we all expect Dale to go down, though he does go down it a bit farther than we expect him to, but we'll get to that. Hank was to go along to the soccer match and watches in horror as Boomhauer does stepdaddy duty. In this case, doing a terrible job of refereeing the match because he either doesn't know nor care about the rules. Though it does seem like he is not in the minority in that way of thinking. Some parents complain because he doesn't make calls, others complain because they don't think that there should be rules and they should just let the kids have fun. See, that's one of those fun little quirks about working with the public. Trust me, I know. I intentionally mention at the beginning that this is a revival review, and why do I do that? Because I got complaints when I didn't. And yet, when I made sure to specify it's a revival review, guess what? Yeah, I also got complaints for that. Personally, I just learned to listen to old Ricky Nelson.
See, you can't please everyone, so you got to please yourself.
Anywho, Boomhauer has had just about his fill, and when a few kids start kicking soccer balls at him, he says to hell with this and pulls a Cartman.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Oh, man.
You gonna say something?
Ah! No!
I mean, he doesn't go home, he stays for Revival Randy, but you get what I'm saying here. They ask for a new ref, saying that another ref quit, so apparently this is not an isolated incident, which is not surprising considering how some parents act when it comes to sports.
It's the latest example of a Little League game that turns into a major brawl.
Decided to express his feelings in a very violent way.
Brawl caught on camera broke out on the field at Westgate Elementary School after a call made by the umpire, who is just 13 years old.
Yeah, we really need to do something about that. Also kind of messed up that it's the kids acting violently towards the ref here. Not that it's any better than the parents, but that is a failure of coaching. I should also point out that Boomhauer does have a history of umping in baseball.
Are you blind? He was out by 2 steps.
Hey, man, get on my face,
You
man.
haven't made the right call since this game
about your
started.
wife, man.
This isn't about my wife.
Don't run, man.
Hey,
Don't
I'll
take it out
kick
on
your
the damn
ass, I'll
umpire,
tell
man.
you
Don't
what.
talk- Get out of here.
Hank steps up the referee because he knows the rules. Apparently nobody else really does. Maybe that's why they have issues with someone wanting to enforce the rules, because they don't know them. Also, it very much is like Hank to go all in on an interest. It makes perfect sense that he would know the rule book cover to cover. Dale visits Bill, who apparently has really gotten into scones. Remember he mentioned them earlier. It does make sense given his love for sweetbread.
I like the yam biscuits.
And I do wonder if he's making American scones or British scones. British scones are closer to American biscuits, but they have sugar and egg and are denser, whereas American biscuits are lighter, more buttery and flaky. American scones are close to British scones, but they typically come in triangles. By the way, they're triangles for the same reason pizza and pie slices are, because they're baked as a large flat round and then cut into triangles. What matters here is that Dale thinks Hank has been turned, more specifically turned into a spy by the Saudi government. But Dale sees Hank enjoying soccer as a screw-up due to them believing that soccer was more popular than it is. He also name drops Ted Lasso, the coach of a football team on, well, Ted Lasso, and Deadpool, as in Ryan Reynolds, who is part owner of Wrexham AFC, a Welsh football club, along with Mac from It's Always Sunny, by the way. Meanwhile, Bobby, Connie, and Joseph are hanging out watching TV. Notice the dream catcher on the wall there. I'm guessing that was a gift from John Redcorn. Also, the TV stand and cat there keep changing. Look at this shot where the cat is on the TV stand next to the television, yet here the cat is in front of the television and the stand is roughly the same width as the television. So what kind of House of Leaves crap have we got going on here? A car dealer ad comes on starring Bronco Barry Bilford, and I'm sure most of us grew up with car ads like this with a spokesman kind of like this. Personally, for me, it was Jack King Jr. in downtown Tyler. Though for some reason, none of their commercials are available online, but it's this guy.
Hello, this is Jack King Jr., your local pet dealer, talking to you live on KING Radio.
Yeah, Bobby is all about nostalgia for Barry there. I get it. How many of y'all have memories related to this random music? How many of y'all know that this guy's name is Victor? I bet you it was a lot of ya. And fun fact, he's been on The Young and the Restless since 1980. He's still on there 45 years later. So yeah, Bobby is all about Bronco Barry, who was voiced by Stephen Root, by the way.
Or a grizzled old cowpoke fixing to buy a convertible buggy. Come on down to Bronco Barry Bilford's Car Corral off 635 in Dallas. But don't take my word for it. Let Switzer here tell you.
And his horse Switzer, named after former Cowboys coach Barry Switzer.
I am ready today. I'm finally getting around to do what I want to do, and I'll be glad to get rid of you guys where I can go do it and say I'm going to do one interview a day, and that's it, and let me go coach. Let me go do what I want to do.
You might remember that was also the name of Big Willie Lane's dog.
Even Con never walks his dog on anybody else's lawn.
I hear you, brother. I just lost my head for a second. Oh, dang. I forgot my baggie. I'll run home and grab one. Come on, Switzer. Come on, girl.
The commercial gives Bobby the idea of buying a car. See, advertisements do work.
Boy, that cheese.
But he gets warned that he's too nice and that it's quite possible that he'll get taken advantage of. Now, some car dealerships will absolutely screw you, some won't. Luckily, I've only bought from good places. I got a vehicle from a nice lady named Marcy not too long ago. She did a great job and she's probably listening to this. But I have been to bad dealerships and I know they absolutely exist. Spoiler alert, Bronco Barry ain't one of the good ones. Hank gets back home from the game trying to hide his ref uniform uniform under his shirt, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. All he had to do was come in through the garage and go straight to the bedroom, completely navigating around Peggy. But he doesn't do that because of course he doesn't do that. The plot needs to happen, so Peggy figures out that he's hiding something not very hard, and he finally breaks down and admits that he loves soccer. Though he says that he said no to being a ref, yet he has the uniform. If he said no, why does he have the uniform? If it was something he already owned, why would he hide it from Peggy?
Where's my goddamn electric car, Bruce?
I have questions. We learn that Hank fell in love with soccer while in Saudi Arabia, and we also learned that Doc Platter has sadly passed away.
Well, I never could figure what the sky was thinking. But the soil, she don't keep too many secrets.
I will never forget you, Doc Platter.
Peggy says that Doc hated soccer, and since Hank loves it, it turns Peggy on, and she insists that they head to the bedroom. Little more mature than usual there, but alright.
You're going to keep reffing, right, honey? Even if it's dirty and dangerous and amoral and would get us shunned by your friends?
Yep.
Oh, and Dale is surveilling them the entire time. It shows cameras on the outside of the house, but I'd be shocked if Dale didn't still have cameras in the Hill house. And yes, that sick bastard does appear to have turned a squirrel into a camera. Not sure if that's a real squirrel, but I have no reason to believe that it's not. I mean, y'all gotta understand, to us, Dale is like Pinhead or Leviathan, turning us into Cenobites and shit.
Ready for your close-up, Joey?
Yeah, I know Hellraiser. I waited years for Clive Barker to finally release the Scarlet Gospels. I'm still waiting on that third book of the art, I'm just saying. So yeah, in short, that's just horrific to me. By the way, Bill apparently thinks that Hank and Peggy are secretly werewolves for some reason.
Still could be werewolves.
And Bill's totally on board when Dale assigns him the task of surveilling Peggy, because hell, Bill's gonna watch her anyway, and I mean that in the creepiest way possible. Hank is refereeing, and I'm kind of surprised he's not off-put by the shorts. He has a history of not liking shorts.
Yeah, all right. Hank, maybe nobody else is going to say anything, but if we were supposed to wear shorts today, I would have appreciated the courtesy of a phone call.
Yeah, man, it was a dang...
I, too, am hurt.
All right, I didn't mean to upset you. I just found out that my jeans are in the wash.
Boy toy!
Boy toy? I don't even know what that means.
It means you're Miss Liz's Debbie.
Hey.
See you around, Debbie.
Then again, he has a history of hating not working, and yet he's retired, so I guess that was just another one of those things that we just threw out the window. I do like how he handles things, though, sporty shorts or not.
Why are you giving the ball to the other team? That's bad for my kid's side.
Yeah! What kind of call is that?
The correct one.
Good job there, though when he gets home he does get more dirty forbidden love from Peggy. Not gonna lie, all the bed stuff doesn't really feel like King of the Hill. It feels more like a sketch on Robot Chicken or something. It's not so much Star Trek, but more Lower Decks, if you get my meaning. It's funny, but it just, I don't know, it feels off somehow. Bobby ends up calling them, and I do find this funny from Hank, but I don't really prefer to see this much of his nipples.
It's Bobby. Hank, do I answer it?
Good Lord, not now. We're in the aftermath.
So, as someone who wears glasses, I can say there's no way in hell I'm pushing a pillow into my face while I'm wearing them like Hank does here. If you don't break them, they're gonna be ridiculously smudged at best. Yeah, embarrassed or not, I do not see Hank doing that. Anywho, Bobby's calling to ask Peggy if she has his driver's ed certificate. Surprisingly, they do, because they laminated it due to a lack of trophies from Bobby. He then inquires as to if she thinks he's too nice. I mean, he is, but Peggy gives a more or less non-answer, and when she finds out Bobby wants to buy a car, she wants to go with him, though Bobby wants to handle this on his own. Problem is, even though he's done all of his homework, he has all the right paperwork, and every duck seems to be in the row, they still get him by having old Bronco Barry himself take over. And Bronco Barry's good, like real good.
I'm not saying you look old or anything, but
What happened? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, son.
He plays Bobby like a fiddle, playing up the old man past his prime shtick, eventually taking him out to see Schwitzer. He even claims the horse's real name is Bobby, and as can be expected, Bobby ends up buying the horse instead of the Kia Soul that he had come there for. This continues Bobby's issue in the revival of being somewhat of a people pleaser. We see it in his business life and his personal life. He's way too much of a pushover. He's the kind of guy that would swim across a lake for people that wouldn't step across a puddle for him. Case in point, buying a daggum horse. He of course gets crap from Connie and Joseph because yeah, he deserves it. But Joseph quickly falls in love with the horse, so they now have a horse. Bill is doing his version of surveillance, testing where Peggy's loyalties lie when he offers her a choice between apple pie, a traditional patriotic American dessert that actually dates back to England with the first recipe appearing in the late 1300s, or falafel and hummus, both traditional Middle Eastern foods. Falafel is Egyptian in origin and may date back to ancient Egypt, though there's some discussion going on about that, and hummus, which was created at some point somewhere in the Middle Eastern region, with recipes dating back to the 13th century, but it's most likely much older. Basically, he wants to see if she picks American food or foreign food, and Peggy makes the absolute correct choice here.
Oh, you're sweet, Bill, but I would never eat food that has been in your home.
I understand.
When Bill goes to report his failure to Dale, we learn that the Tupperware that Bill also returned to Peggy had a microphone in it somehow. And through the waterlogged microphone, they somewhat hear what Hank is saying and take it as the two of them planning an attack. What it actually was Hank telling Peggy that he was going to be refereeing a high school game at Arlen Eagles Stadium. I'm taking a wild guess here and saying that this is based on Allen Eagle Stadium, though it's odd because why would Arlen have an Eagles stadium? Arlen is the Longhorns, not the Eagles. Unless that's yet another change in the revival. The stadium is clearly modeled appearance-wise on Allen Eagles Stadium. Hank is still worried about people finding out he likes soccer, mostly the guys because they're old school soccer haters, though I doubt in all honesty that they would have had an issue with it in the long run, outside making jokes here and there. I mean, Bill was pretty upfront with Dale about his enjoyment of scones, a food people like Dale would consider to be foreign. Plus, soccer has come a long ways in terms of people enjoying it in Texas. It doesn't quite have the same weak stigma that it used to. Peggy tells Hank that he has evolved, her word not mine, beyond the guys who are all stuck in the past, which she is at least partially correct about, though there are some things that Hank isn't a fan of.
Although I still don't like women shaving their heads and dyeing what's left. They look like fruit.
I wonder if he got that from his daddy.
Is that a kiwi in there? You know how I feel about hairy fruits.
Dale, hearing the broken version of events, believes that Hank plans to kidnap the mayor, because he's an idiot. Anywho, Bobby is trying to find a stable where they can keep Switzer, though they're all apparently full, which is a problem because the landlord has already threatened eviction if they don't get rid of it. Bobby attempts to get Bronco Barry to take the horse back. I'm not sure how Bobby got his personal cell number, but oh well, details. And we see the real Bronco Barry, a shrewd businessman who got rid of a horse because it'd gotten old and expensive.
You know what they charge to bury horses, huh? Do you? $2,000. And I wouldn't pay that much to bury my own mammy.
Hank gets to training for the big game, walking on a treadmill while watching soccer like he's the keyboardist for Rammstein, jumping rope while Peggy heckles him from the stands. All the while, Dale is watching, planning, believing that Hank is making a possible explosive rather than fixing his glasses or attaching something to the earpieces to keep them around his neck if they fall. Also, possibly bent them with that pillow, I'm just saying. By the way, this does prove that Dale has cameras in the Hill house. The garage doors are closed, yet Dale is watching Hank in the garage, clearly not through a window, so yeah, that camera is in the garage. Fast forward to the game and Hank runs into the mayor, though Dale whisks him off pretty quick since he believes that Hank means her harm and that he's protecting her. This leads to Bill and Dale abducting Hank in the Bugaboo, which is odd to me because I get throwing the bag over Hank's head and shoving shoving him into the van. But at that point, Dale knocks Hank out with a chloroform rag. Slight props for showing it doesn't immediately knock a person out like they had previously shown.
You wouldn't hit an unconscious man.
Though it still takes longer than they show here, but why doesn't Hank fight back? He's bigger and stronger than Dale. His arms are not bound in any way. He could easily have thrown Dale off of him. Hell, he probably would have done so instinctively. Yet no, he just sits there, continuing to breathe in chloroform until he finally passes out. That could take minutes, man. What the crap, Hank? This allows Dale to tie him up in his basement and try to interrogate him. Also notice that he has a camera trained on Bobby and Joseph's apartment here. Nice little detail in the background. He accuses Hank of being a Saudi spy and of using soccer as a means to take over the country. Then he doubles down on his insanity by producing a truth serum that he had gotten the recipe for online. And I gotta say, this is about as unhinged as we've ever seen Dale be. Well, without mushrooms or possible rabies being involved.
I'm going to drain all the blood out of your body. Then I'm going to replace my blood with your non-rabid blood, which will both cure me and give me all your knowledge of propane and propane accessories.
I think you might be eating the wrong kind of mushrooms, Dale.
I know what I'm doing.
Hank sanely questions if the serum will work. I honestly wouldn't trust Dale to inject me with anything, let alone something he got the recipe for online. Dale has already tried it on Bill and proves that it is, well, kinda working.
Bill, tell me the truth.
I'm scared. I'm lonely and scared.
See? It works.
Hank is able to defuse the situation by leaning into Dale's delusions and claiming to be a double agent, which Dale falls for. Good job there, Hank. This whole thing had a real George Reeves almost getting shot by a kid feeling to it.
Hey, Superman.
Well, hello there, young man. What's your name?
Kenneth Giles. Can I shoot you?
He's able to get free after tricking Dale. Bill is not looking too good there, and he hurries with Peggy to make it to the stadium for the game. While he was being detained, Boomhauer stepped up to referee, and when Hank finally arrives, he ain't too happy about the changes that Boomhauer has made, even if the crowd absolutely loves it.
Boomhauer's just turned soccer into football and wrestling and some kind of mixed martial arts.
Now what Boomhauer has going on here, a mixture of rugby, soccer, and MMA, is actually pretty much a real thing. It's one of my favorite historical sports, Calcio Storico Fiorentino. You know how football is sometimes referred to as the sport of kings?
You know now.
Better than diamond rings. Football.
Well, Calcio Storico Fiorentino is known as the sport of popes, known as a noble game due to the classical participants being either royalty or nobility. Imagine the Pope and Charles III competing in this. That's what we're talking about. Hell, they even held a match in Florence while the city was under siege by Charles V in 1530. It also kind of reminds me of an old video game called Arch Rivals, where you played basketball and you had two buttons. One you push to shoot, and the other you push to punch. Hank is not happy. The rules have totally been thrown out the window, but he's pretty much the only one because everyone else loves it. And Peggy just brushes it off as, oh well, it's Texas. Bobby, Connie, and Joseph are still trying to figure out what to do with the horse when Connie recommends calling John Redcorn, who quickly comes by and finds the whole thing funny, claiming that Bobby got scammed by an old native trick. However, when he sees that Joseph actually cares for the horse and a brief daydream of riding horses together, he agrees to take the horse to his land, which apparently was not turned into a waste dumping site.
Permit to allow toxic dumping?
Unless you have another way to come up with the money. Oh, and keep in mind your topsoil will become very flammable.
But only under the condition that they come out and take care of it, which Bobby claims is something Joseph will handle so that he and John Redcorn can spend more time together, thereby giving John Redcorn what he really wanted. The episode ends with Hank and Peggy back in bed, where apparently people being more accepting of soccer has completely nerfed Peggy's arousal for it. But the whole role-playing as a spy thing still gets her motor running. Man, these are things I didn't think this show would cover. Nor did I ever see Hank as the role-playing type, but alas, here we are. And as that's going on, Dale and Bill are listening in, reaffirming Dale's belief that the Hills are in fact soccer-loving Saudi spies.
Assassinate the president.
The eagle flies at dawn.
Get the chloroform.
So, new ref in town. It was an okay episode. It had some good laughs. It's still kind of awkward with all the Hank and Peggy dirty talk. And you know, I get it. This ain't your dad's King of the Hill. But still, it's kind of weird to me. Dale thinking that Hank and Peggy are spies is kind of in character, though I'd say he took it a bit far. And Bill was a tad too compliant. He is often a pushover, and the more I think about it, that's something I notice in the revival is almost an over-flanderization. They take an aspect of a character and they just crank it up to 11, and considering they already did that in the later seasons, it's just something all new together. Bill is letting Dale talk him into kidnapping Hank. Hank is allowing himself to be kidnapped by Dale. Dale went way too far with the conspiracy theory bit. Peggy's in-your-faceness is front and center all the time. Bobby is a complete and utter pushover. Maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't seem like your typical, oh well, they got older kind of thing. They're just written differently. It's not bad, just different. Also, not enough Brian. We need more Brian. The Bobby B plot was funny. We got some good moments between the three youngsters, and I like the little moment there towards the end with John Redcorn and Bobby insisting Joseph spend time out there with him. You could tell that John Redcorn was very, very thankful of that. It's a touching little moment there. Overall, this episode was okay. It's fun to see Hank loves soccer. It makes sense given the rules and grass and all that. And if nothing else, at least we learn a little something about livestock scams.
You fell for the oldest scam in the book, the pale-face pawn-off.
Thanks for watching, folks. We'll see y'all next time.
I'm going to Harlot Town, where the gals treat a gent with two dimes like a king. Yes, Harlot Town, where you only have to ask to get most everything.